no coordinates.
Hey, I'm
No
sorry.
worries. How many no
Man,
noughts
you
are
know what?
simplified? Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Um,
Gotcha.
so, where's the microphone? Okay.
Well, you're already there. We're just trying to expand the
Call Vicky Campbell.
Homegirl.
Okay, it's 5:33. Let's get started. All right, I want to thank Pastor Barlow and Beulah Church for allowing us to use their space. Thank you very much.
Check.
Is Pastor Barlow here? No? And I also want to thank Connor, who works with me, and Hassan for securing the date and the time here. I want to thank Chad Henderson, and I want to chat from Catalyst, and I want to thank ECUA's Vicki Campbell. She'll be here shortly if she's not here already. You here, Vicki? She'll be up after Chad speaks about OLF8. Okay.
Keep talking.
Okay, keep talking. That good? All right. So thank you to Chad and to Vicki for coming here to talk about the projects they're working on. And thank you for everybody here for also coming. I appreciate everybody's interest in Beulah. I see a lot of supporters out there, so I'm glad I'm seeing a lot of friendly faces. So let me tell you what some of the ground rules here for this town hall. We got nothing but good news to talk about, so I think this is going to be a good one. I think everyone's going to enjoy this. So we're going to follow the agenda, and the agenda is going to start with Chad Henderson from Catalyst talking about OLF8. He'll probably take some questions, I guess, right? And then after him, it'll be Vicki Campbell. She's going to spend some time talking about what projects they got going on up here. And then I'm going to talk about roads. I'm going to talk about the Beulah Master Plan, or not so much a master plan as a vision plan. And I'm going to talk about, what else are we going to talk about? Well, we'll make it up as we go along. So this town hall is specific to Beulah. Who's here from someplace else? Okay. Well, I expect you to be asking questions all the time. But these questions, this is specifically for Beulah. Now, I've had a couple down in Perdido Key, and I don't think everybody necessarily honored that. I'm trying to have these town halls regionally, one in Perdido Key, one in the Bellevue area, and Marcus Point, and then also up here, so that we can, me and Hassan and the county, we can all prepare better for talking to you about whatever the issues that we got in those particular areas. So as a courtesy for those here in Bellevue, please, no questions not relevant to this region. I will take those questions though, and we'll still answer your questions just like we're at work, okay? Ask questions only you have the microphone, okay? Raise your hand. Alicia's around here someplace. Alicia's right there. She's gonna hand you the microphone. Ask one question. Who's got questions? Everybody have questions? Raise your hands if you got questions. I just want to make sure we get all the questions. So if we have more time, we'll answer more questions. But let's go through, make sure everyone gets to actually get to answer a question first before we go to two. But we also have the QR code. There was one at the desk, and I think we're going to put it up here too, maybe after Chad's presentation. But there's a QR code at the table. You can scan that and submit your questions to that there also. Where's our deputy? We have a deputy here? How you doing, sir? Thanks for being here. So I don't expect there to be any crazy disruptions, but if there is, this gentleman's going to escort you out. All right? Let's see. So with that, I'll introduce Chad Henderson. Hi, Chad.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chad.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Well, hello. My name is Chad Henderson. I am the CEO and founder of Catalyst Healthcare Real Estate. I'm a partner in Tri-W, the developer of Outlying Fields, and very much appreciate the opportunity to be with you tonight. I got to say it's a very quick, visible reminder of how important this project is and how passionate the community base is and should be about a project of this size and impact. I'm going to just kind of start at the beginning. I'm going to share with you a presentation here. The purpose of today is to be transparent, is to be very upfront about our progress, about our pathways forward. I don't have all the answers. This is it's been 6 months of a fact-finding mission on due diligence. When you are tackling a project of this size and stature, you certainly want to get to a place as quickly as possible to make decisions from an evidence-based perspective. From a long time, we were pursuing the thought or the idea of this project, but you could only do so much without having, physical control or contractual control of the project, so you can spend a significant amount of time, money, and resources that a project like this deserves to make sure that you're going through that appropriate fact-finding mission, getting those answers, and planning accordingly. I'll tell you that this update, though, is certainly kind of speaking through looking through the lens and speaking to really the same initiatives that we have had all along, and that is to serve what I consider to be really three major stakeholder buckets. Certainly one of those stakeholder buckets is made up of yourselves, of the community. And you guys have done such a fantastic job of organizing, sharing a voice and sharing the mindset and just the particulars of what you would like to see here, what you would not like to see here. And certainly this notion of creating, the beating heart of Beulah, right? There, a place where we can spend time with families and friends and create memories, having human capital exchange and moments, and that's certainly a part of what we're trying to do with the project. The other stakeholder bucket is the job creation element. Is the economic development community that believes that we need more sites to create the right jobs that we're after. So certainly that is a stakeholder group that we're trying to serve. And finally, the county themselves. So that they made an investment when they did a land swap and invested in some CapEx projects for the Navy. They have a basis, and when they did that, they became a fiduciary or an investor on behalf of the citizens. And certainly need to be a steward of that and make sure there is an ROI in the right way on that investment. So somewhere in the middle there is where we're trying to land. And it is our goal for 1 + 1 to equal 3 in this scenario. We want everybody to win as much as possible with those three stakeholder goals in mind. This project is an opportunity, as I said, to create a place, and we believe a place needs a brand. And there is so much to pull from and to draw from this community. We hired a firm. We went through a branding exercise to think about how could we honor this site. It was not about just slapping a name on it. There was a lot of thought and dialogue that went on in coming up with the name of Outlying Fields. We want to pay homage to OLF 8. There's many of you that I think we'll always refer to this site as OLF 8, and we want to keep that. So we took the 8 and we turned it on the side as infinity and making sure that we can kind of carry that forward in perpetuity. We understand how big and significant the impact of this project is. In my mind, we have been talking about this project and meeting with stakeholders, doing our best to keep people up to speed in our progress and our thought process with our social media posts, with our individual meetings. But in every meeting, we very much recognize just how much this will be a transformational, a multi-generational project. And we got to get it right on the front end. We want to have it be rooted in history. And want to make sure that it's planned and very thoughtful and balanced to create a pedestrian-friendly, a walkable site that has distinct districts, and those districts work together and create a very fluid project where hopefully great activity breeds more great activity. But again, a walkable, connected community where families live, businesses grow, and neighbors thrive. We came up with a color scheme. We're paying homage to OLF 8. This is certainly grounded in the spirit of Beulah, but the size of the project certainly impacts, a greater geography in Northwest Florida and beyond. We think about this in the mindset of community and commerce. We're building and growing, we're working and living, with having these icons of this mark that we can carry with us, and then that we can keep OLFA moving forward. So the whole branding process was something we did on the onset, and we thought about how that would tie into us really telling the stories around the districts. The plan. So we all know that there was a plan in place with DPZ, and I said in the pursuit of this is that we were trying to stay within the spirit of the DPZ plan. I realize that maybe the spirit of the DPZ plan means a lot of different things probably to a lot of different people. So we're doing our best to stay within that chassis and the spirit of the DPZ plan, but also recognize that there were things in the DPZ plan that made it very difficult to execute and to finance. I think as we came together, and as the community came together in Charette's and really came and thought through the process of how the DPZ plan would come together, there was a missing piece of thinking about how this could be grounded in financeability and how it can be executed upon. So the goal of kind of rethinking through this plan is one that would be simplified and a plan that would be able to be executed on. So that was really the kind of the lens that we were looking, but something that was functional and feasible, community engaged, and increasing density and economic vitality, but also, again, back to the stakeholders, creating a beating heart of Beulah, really thinking about the economic development community and the right types of jobs, and we'll talk about that more in a bit, and understand of being a good steward of the investment of Escambia County. So here's the plan. I would say that this is probably the 14th iteration of the plan. I mean, this was a living and breathing process. I mean, many people thought that maybe, hey, what have these folks been doing for the last 6 or 7 months? And I can tell you that it's been a lot of work. In our thought process is we wanted to get it to a place of having some real kind of gravity in the direction that we're going before we got out in front of the community. Back in September, we started to release the idea of these districts. Many of you may have seen those images on social media depicting renderings of how these districts could come together and work. But the 5 town districts are certainly the town center. We have commerce and services that are on the bottom right-hand corner. We have the community district on the bottom left-hand corner, the residential district on the top left corner, and then, of course, what we're calling the ETI in the top right corner, which is employment, technology, and innovation. Some of them really may be just some kind of differences from the DPZ plan that jump out at you is where the residential sits. Before, the residential sit in the middle of the property. Now the majority of the residential is in the top left that we believe is a better fit, creating a good transition and buffer along Frank Reeder Road. Now that would cause, and we'll go through this later as well, as a change in the future land use plan. That is not how the plan reads today, so we would have to go to Tallahassee to make this plan and to make this ask, which we plan on doing. We'll go through this by district. So what have we been up to? So when I talked about this fact-finding initiative and this data gathering phase, we have been really busy with certainly the iterations of the master plan, working with GMC, Goodwin Mills and Kaywood, who did a very deep dive on the DPZ plan, as well as Cooper Carey, who is another large architectural and land planning firm. So we did some preliminary engineering. We did all types of surveys. We did geotechnical, is where we bore in the ground to understand the perk rates and what type of dirt we're dealing with, which really helps with stormwater planning. We worked on understanding wetland delineation and doing a natural features inventory that led to a threatened and endangered species studies. We did a very large traffic study which is something that we were really hard at work. There was a lot of detail in that. We have done a really large economic impact study, and that is right here on site, as well as how it impacts us regionally. We did a retail feasibility study, as well as a multifamily and a residential study as a part of the due diligence practice. And so each one of these studies, we're not handling in-house. We've gone out to third parties, and that's all they do. And we reached experts in their fields and working with them and been very collaborative with them in doing that. So these are the information that we have been gathering. Certainly, I want to understand where we are in the timeline, in the process, and the actual contractual obligations of us. June 12th is when we officially went under contract. At that time, we put $100,000 down on our earnest money deposit. At the time, it was non-refundable. That took us, we immediately started our due diligence process. On the December 2nd date, that EMD, that earnest money deposit, $100,000, went hard, and what that means, it went non-refundable. That $100,000 is now non-refundable if we don't close. The county gets that. However, it is applicable to the purchase price and moving forward. As well, on that day, we put additional $50,000 down that immediately went non-refundable and hard as well. So today we're $150,000 non-refundable into the contract. From that point, that'll take us to May 31st of 2026, where we would put another $50,000 down. That would immediately become non-refundable and applicable towards the purchase price. And then from that period, we have 45 days of close with two 30-day extensions for $20,000 each, which of those would be non-refundable and applicable to the purchase price as well, carrying us to an outside closing date at this point of September of this year. There is a lot to do from a rezoning, future land use plan that we'll go through from a timeline perspective, and we'll talk about that could take anywhere from 3 to 6 months, and so that process has begun. We have been meeting and have established a cadence and a rhythm of meeting with the county staff and working with them in establishing a milestone schedule and a timeline on how we're going to work together through these processes, these formalities that we're going through. And those periods along the way, there will have opportunities for input and for further discussion. I can tell you from a plan perspective, we're going to go through the districts, but if anything, from a DPZ plan, we're tightening up the use definitions and ensuring quality, especially from an architectural perspective. Each district will have a pattern book across an architectural pattern book that you will have to adhere to from a development perspective, and that will go across all the overlay district and every district. And it's meant to work together, but to ensure quality development throughout. That is a big part of this. The Town Center District. So for those of you not on social media, we began releasing these images and these ideas of back in, I think, late September, early October. About every 2 or 3 weeks, we would release another rendering and then eventually another district, and we got through all 5 districts by the time the holidays were wrapping up. So some of you may have seen this and are familiar with it. But the Town Center District is, I'm going to call it roughly about 45 acres in the middle of the property. This is where the beating heart will be of the development. This is where I'm hoping that you will find yourselves walking down what would be the main street of Beulah. The main street of Beulah should be where ground floors are activated with curated uses. And what I mean by that is this is not about putting up buildings, hanging shingles, and finding somebody to pay rent. This is about being very intentional and finding those types of uses that create a sense of place. We like to call that targeted leasing and casting, where we're being intentional. We'll go out and define those local and regional users that are creating an experience-driven Main Street. The Main Street retail aspect will be more on the northern part of the town district, with, on the southern part of the town district, will be more of kind of live-work aspects. So if we see this rendering here, this is looking from what we're going to call Pinnacle Landing. Pinnacle, I think I got a fancy red button here. Hold on. Oh, look at there. So Pinnacle Landing right here is a historical aspect of the site that we'd love to keep and activate. That is the hill where the helicopters used to practice landing on an elevated surface. It's about a 20-foot high hill. We love this spot as a way to activate the western side of this main street that would go left to right. And on the right side here would be this seasonal park. Seasonal park, I mean, we're hoping that's where, you know, there are Christmas tree vendors, maybe your pumpkin patch, but it's programmed to where that we're having events to walk this main street. So this is a view looking back towards the east from Pinnacle Landing, and that's what this is. To create a landing here, you can see that we're trying to activate green spaces, having this walkable with these curated uses. This is looking to the east, walking down a rendering of what Main Street could look like. You'll see that, you know, this is an opportunity for the ground floor to be activated in those retail uses that are smaller in nature but create experiences, and they're driven around, you know, again, local and regional flavors. So this is not where the larger, you know, standalone retail stores will be. This will be the Main Street. This is looking back to the west, back towards Pinnacle Landing. You'll see a structure there in the distance. I want to say we're not married to that exact structure, but the idea is to create a gathering place. A kind of, hopefully this iconic structure that people know where to gather around. This is an observation tower, is an example. And if you look at kind of the bird's eye view, you're looking back towards Pinnacle Landing, where that hill, where it can be activated. We're showcasing some slides here and children can play. To the left here is, to the left is kind of this entrance to this community district that we'll go over next. The back right is this residential district that we'll talk about, and then directly to the north here and to the right is the ETI district that we can talk about in a bit as well. So the community district. We talked about this early on, and the community district is certainly an opportunity to celebrate, you know, the woodlands and the wetlands of Beulah. It's also where the most of the wetlands are on the property. And it's where, if you think about the fall of the property, it's roughly 60, 70 feet fall from the northeast corner down to the southwest corner. So obviously, if we want to follow the fall, that's where most of the watershed and the storm water will go. So what we have an opportunity, as opposed of creating a bunch of little stormwater ponds with chain link fences around it that are eyesores and nobody wants to look at, is to create an amenity. How can we create this watershed and make it a lake? And this is what we're calling Angel Lake. It is very sizable. The idea would be to create walking trails around it and make it an amenity and activate it with open green space, walkable trails, and also interact with the landing. So here is a rendering that we've shared from a community perspective that would have structures, walking trails, jogging trails, biking trails that would be able to be activated by the community. This is for the entire community. This is not for if you bought a townhouse here or if you run a business here or you have a job here. This is for everybody. This is where we want people to gather and spend a significant amount of time making memories. This is a rendering that is looking back from the community district back towards what we call Pinnacle Landing. Opportunity maybe to activate these with some structures. Maybe there's opportunities for festivals or food trucks or something that we can create these habits where we can make people gather, and these rituals that people can gather and make memories. The residential district. As I mentioned earlier, we moved the residential district up to the northwest of the property. We believe that makes sense from a transitional perspective and a buffer. The residential district is not made up of a bunch of single-family houses. It's more density. Quite honestly, given the basis of the land that we have to have some density here to make this make sense, but we want to do it very tastefully, where it's around green spaces, where it's creating also streetscapes of sidewalks and walkability. I very much believe and see how you could live in this residential district and you could walk to Main Street for a nice dinner or to shop. You could walk and go to the community aspect and the civic aspects of outlying fields, but certainly it should be connected. And many people may ask, well, hey, how do you think about this transition of residential to more of this job creation aspect? And we're going to talk more about that in a bit when I cover the ETI district. But we've been very, very intentional and thoughtful about those transition points and how we can make sure that that we're doing our best to have this fluidity across the development and that there is this just integrity as you go district to district that all adhere to that are a part of the project. Commerce, services, and the district, this is where along 9 Mile Road, this is probably where you would think would be more of your traditional retail services. However, we've been very thoughtful about how that would lay out. We are not really focused on these, really, really big boxes with nothing but a sea of parking in front. Where we can, we want to be very intentional about having parking in the back and having our buildings fronting streets where we can and making sure that we're doing that in a manner where we're creating still this pedestrian-friendly mindset. So if we look at the renderings, we can have, this architectural integrity to a more of a traditional retail feel. We realize also for these retailers to make sense, they're going to have car access and vehicular access because these will be drive-to services as well. But we want to be really thoughtful about that and thoughtful on how that interacts with the rest of the project. In addition to this commercial and services district, we want to have a focus on health and wellness. There is really 23 acres that we have thought would be a fantastic place for a more health and wellness oriented type of the project. At Catalyst, that's what we do a ton of. Based here in Pensacola with offices in Dallas, Nashville, and around Tampa. We've worked in over $2 billion of healthcare real estate and activating healthcare and health and wellness campuses. Make them walkable. So that could be anything from outpatient services to freestanding emergency rooms to neighborhood hospitals to ambulatory surgery centers to more activated gym and wellness centers. All of those types. We're being very, very thoughtful about how we approach those types of users and build that out on the site. And to go back here, that would be right here in this aspect. Here, again, these are, placeholders, but we think that this could be a really interesting opportunity for a conference hotel, a place where visitors and the folks that are working in the area and other employers and users of the area could go and use and have conferences. I meant to mention back here for the community aspect, we certainly have some civic uses, whether a post office, a community center, a schools, a church campus. All of that has been oriented around the community district. I apologize for not mentioning that on the community section. The ETI district. So the ETI district is a district that is focused on creating the jobs that we will be intentional about going after. There is an element to this part of the project where we are looking to partner with the county and partner with other economic development organizations such as Florida West and PEDC, to name a few. But we want to be very intentional about what types of jobs and the architectural integrity that we're bringing to this site. So what we have here is an example of different types of uses that could go on this site. This is an example of a corporate headquarters here that could go, much like what's at Navy Federal. There is some more tilt wall space that could focus on things such as biopharmaceutical, marine innovation, clean manufacturing. That could be throughout. We'll give you some examples of what this can look like. So this is actually looking from the residential district. When I mentioned earlier about being intentional in transitions, about creating ways where these two can work together. In the ETI district, we're also going to be extremely intentional about how those buildings orient to the street front, to where if there's any loading to those buildings, that will be done in the back, where we have storefront and glass, and we're using things like tilt wall construction, no metal buildings, but things that are done, and they're done with architectural integrity, and they're done with a sense of usability to recruit the types of employers that we would like to come to this area. I believe strongly that this would be the A site for site selectors in this area in Escambia County, that we can be out and rifle focused and go after to recruit the types of employers that we're looking for in this site. So as an example, aerospace and aeronautical, cybersecurity, marine innovation and technology, clean manufacturing, medical technology, and biopharmaceutical. And I want to be really clear in saying this, is that takes all of us. And so it's not just asking a developer or an economic development organization to go do this. This is out selling our community, selling our region, and going and really building off of the other users and employers that we already have in the area, and the momentum that Pensacola and the greater Pensacola is carrying forth. And so this is something that we're going to work with the county. However, everything we do in the ETI district is applicable to the overall master plan. Even though we are partnering with the county on this specific district, it is applicable to the overall master plan and having to adhere to the master plan and the overlay district. But the reason that why we want to do this is because we want to make sure that we are setting ourselves up for success. The amount of infrastructure and capital that it takes to put spine roads and the chassis of infrastructure that it takes to move this development forward, in my mind, needs to be done well, and a lot of it done up front. In my opinion, and when you're building, if you're trying to phase and you're building roads to nowhere, things like that don't work. So if we go back to the plan for a second, and if we're having to phase and we're building a road to here and stopping, and we're only focused on doing this district, and then we're building another road to stop to build this district, we're not going to have the outcomes that we all want and deserve. Back to the targeting in the middle of these stakeholder buckets where 1 + 1 = 3. So the goal is to work with the county on the ETI district, bring about some infrastructure fund availability, and work with developers, a developer like myself in a master plan sense, to bring about continuity across an entire master plan. So I realize that I am giving you a ton of information all at once, but I want to make sure that you understand that even though there's 5 districts and there's a partnership in the ETI district and not a partnership in the other district, does not mean that there is not fluidity and there is not a sense of accountability from a master developer and adhering to a master plan in an overlay district that is going to make sure that we're lockstep in architectural control and integrity and all the use definitions that you'd be used to in the DPZ form. So I'm going to pause there, and I would be happy to answer questions. I understand there is a ton of information here, so I'm going to do my best to answer everybody. Yes, sir.
The residential slide you showed has 16 units. The residential slide that you showed had 16 units of buildings, 0 driveways, and 1 car in the street. How many parking spaces per dwelling unit are you proposing?
So we are, these are townhouses that would be rear loading in alleyways in the back. So we want it to be very walkable up front with porches, and we want to have all vehicles in the back.
And how many parking spaces
How
per
many
unit?
parking spaces? I would be a two-car parking, maybe one or two. I'm not sure. I mean, we're not, that's not infinite, in stone of the actual layout of the townhouse. More indicative to what type of housing could be offered. But I'd say two.
A secondary, that's a good number. A secondary question is, if we're going to get to use the amenities of the thing, is there a plan for parking for those?
Yes, so if you look back at the community slide, I'll show you, we have thought through parking. So right here, as an example, there could be others here. But certainly, yeah, we want to make sure that there is parking for folks that are not involved. And obviously, we want to make sure that that's landscaped and really fits in, and we don't want to create a sea of parking, but we certainly want to be mindful about the usability of the community. Yes, sir.
So with most walkable communities, there is a big emphasis on public transport. So I was wondering, how will outlying fields be integrated into the ECAT system of public transport, and will it have its own local routes?
That's a great question, and certainly one that I don't have all the answers for that. I certainly appreciate public transportation and the access to these types of community amenities. That is something that we will work with the county staff. I'll tell you, I want to thank, the staff, and I've met with each commissioner multiple times. Your commissioner has made himself available every time I've asked. He's challenged me. Don't have all the answers, but things exactly like those questions are things that we'll work together with the county to make sure there is access to those types of transit options.
Yes, I have a question and a comment. Who's your engineer of record? What engineering firm?
Goodwin Mills and Kaywood, GMC.
And do you know if they use national rainfall data, specifically the most current National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration? It's called NOAA Atlas 14 now. This year it'll be released as NOAA Atlas 15. That is the most current precipitation data that needs to be used for stormwater design.
Yes, sir. I do not have that direct answer. I would love to tell you yes, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, their stormwater calcs are certainly looking at 100-year storms, but I can ask that question and we'll get back to you.
Okay, I'll make a comment to you. That all drains to a wetland that drains to 9 Mile Road. 9 Mile Road is a state road. You will have to get a driveway and a drainage connection permit to permit that development. DOT in 2022 did a flood resilience action plan, which required, the legislation required FDOT to use NOAA current rainfall data, most current rainfall data. But we have local municipalities here in Escambia, Santa Rosa County, Okaloosa County, that are not using this data. Instead, they're using 1979 rainfall data.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
The rain has changed since 1979, and when you say a 100-year storm,
I agree with you.
you're not meeting a 100-year storm if you're using 1979 rainfall data. Just make that comment to you. My name's Chris Kerb. I work with Flood Defenders Panhandle.
Yes, sir.
I worked with Escambia County for 25 years.
Yes,
Have
sir.
your engineer give me a call. Thank
Will
you.
do. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Where are we? Okay, I'm in. All right, thank you. Okay.
Hi, I'm George Levy. I have some concerns. You look at the city of Pensacola, they're developing a port, creating jobs. I see very few really industrial jobs there. The state is talking about putting in a Beulah interchange, we'll put a highway there. You're talking about housing and residential, and a lot of the housing nowadays is awful shoddy. Okay? And right across the road is a dozen developments, and they're all shoddy. So to build in more shoddy residences and not create jobs for the local people, real jobs, like industry, like the port, or anything else, and you're going to have, then you look around and you see a bunch of empty storefronts, and you're going to start stuffing stores in this. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, sir. My wife and I, we moved in about 3 years ago now. We live right across the road of Beulah, and I've been looking at that land, and I've been wondering what you guys have been building. With everything you've told us tonight, looking at the industry, I work in some of those areas in that industry. The businesses you want to bring in take time. My questions for you, where are you going to be in your timeline to build this out? Then to fill in get those companies in there, how's it going to be impacting all the residents around that area? I'm not just talking about congested roads because of construction. I'm also talking about after everything's already in place, how's that going to affect us? Right now, we've been hearing that Beulah Road's going to be widening. We've heard about that interchange the gentleman just talked about. I've already received several letters in the mail stating that I'm going to be losing my property to eminent domain because of the widening. Beulah Road's not wide enough to hold the traffic. On top of what's going on in 9 Mile. There's a lot of great things I can see coming out of this. A lot of us can. My question to you is, have you thought about the impact to the residents that are already here, not just to what you want to bring in? How's that going to impact us?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and certainly there is going to be, this size of a project will have its own internal need for infrastructure, and then obviously it will further exacerbate the need for the indirect infrastructure improvements. The plans that you alluded to of the interchange at I-10 at Beulah Road, the widening of Beulah Road, the upgrading of intersections, you're right, all of that will affect Beulah. When you're bringing this density, there is going to be an effect and an impact. And I think what I would say is that I want to be a steward and be a good listener and be reasonable and making sure that we're doing the best that we can in the approach to make sure that we are taking all into account with the infrastructure needs and the demands associated with this type of project in other projects and other growth areas that are happening within Beulah. But, I mean, you're right. I mean, there's going to be widenings of roads. There's going to be, other thoroughfares that are receiving more traffic. But, we certainly are taking the necessary steps on the front end. We hired Jacobs. We did a very deep dive into traffic, and are still going through that and working with the county and working with the state and others to take all of this into account. As these things gets built out and densified, we're planning way ahead, and certainly are not going to put us in a position where, we're only building for a smaller set and then becomes bigger, creating a larger problem. No, we're looking years and decades in advance to make sure we're making infrastructure decisions today. Yes, ma'am.
Chad, when I talk with you, I'm Teresa Blackwell. When I talk with you about that ETI district, you made it clear to me that in your partnership with the county and Florida West and, PEDC, that you would remain the master developer and you would control what companies get accepted into that place. Because, I think of all those entities, I would trust you to do the right thing. It'd be in your interest, and I know you've done quality work. So I just wanted to bring that point out, that part of what you'd be aiming for is you would remain the master developer of that district, even though this partnership is maybe a little unclear here that you're talking about. But
well, I certainly don't want to mislead or misspeak at all. It would be a partnership where all of us are going after to recruit employers that are aligned with the industries that we laid out that would all have to adhere to the zoning, architectural review, and use case of more. But I would not be the only person out there talking and approving companies. I want to be very transparent. But they all would have to adhere to the plan that gets approved and that we're working to approve, that would lay out exactly what I just suggested with from a perspective of industry, types of buildings, the architectural integrity of those buildings, how they're set up from a perspective of fronting the street, all of those things, loading in the rear, all of those types of things.
Well, we just want to ensure we don't have an Amazon distribution center Santa Rosa. I'm glad they're happy to have all that. They can have it. We
Right.
don't-
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you're familiar, you
Yes,
know
ma'am.
that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Got a couple, I want to
Coming?
Well, we live off of Frank Reeder, and that was never mentioned. It is a country road, is what I call it, because you have to stay on it or you're going to go against the fence or whatever. Are there exits by the residential in the northwest corner?
Yes, ma'am,
That's
there
going
are.
to go on to Frank Reeder?
Yes, ma'am. There is there are two exits to the north that go on Frank Reeder. One of the things that we are working on is an additional east-west connector through the property here that's owned by the diocese that will help to have some relief of off Frank Reeder to be another outlet. But yes, ma'am, you are correct. There are two exits onto Frank Reeder Road that would go to Beulah as well.
Okay. Is that going to be widened, I hope, a lot?
Yes, ma'am, that would have to be improved for sure. Yes, ma'am,
And-
yes, ma'am.
I don't mean to offend the man that said, but there's not just shouty houses back there. There are maybe 600, but we live in Daniels Grove,
Yes, ma'am.
and ours is very uptown. And we don't want our property to be lowered
Yes, ma'am.
because of this.
I'm hopeful that you'll be very proud of what we're working on throughout the entire project that would enhance a lot of folks around the area. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Janice, and I was wondering how much your single-family and your multifamily homes are going to start at.
That is a great question, and I don't
It
want to...
is, because it would indicate the type of people that you're trying to bring into the neighborhood.
Yes.
Because you keep referring to types of people and types of employers. And, to me, that's almost sounds like maybe not the people in this room.
I'm referring to good, hardworking people that want great jobs. And I can't speak exactly to the price point. I will tell you, though, given the basis of the land and the amount of infrastructure and the integrity of the amenities in the property, they are going to be, I can promise you, not shoddy. That's what I'll say. I can't speak to exact purchase price right now. Yes, sir.
Just a quick question. Did you reserve any space for a town hall?
Yes, that's a great question. We certainly believe that there's an opportunity for community center. We'd love to work with Commissioner Strohberger and others. There's you can see there's a lot of opportunity for community engagement throughout and walkable and through the civic areas as well as within the town center. So I think that is a strong possibility that can happen. Yes, sir. John.
Hello, Mr. Henderson. I'm interested in when you were talking about the ETI district and that you would have a joint control type with the county and things like that, but you wanted it to fit your overlays, the design standards in there.
That's correct.
How are you going to guarantee that?
So, I mean, this will be, just as the DPZ plan is codified now, it's in the future land use, it's in the zoning. We would have those controls in the mandate of the plan, and so everyone would have to adhere. No matter if that was a developer-driven building or it was an owner-occupied building, they would all have to adhere to the plan that would go back over as we unwind the DPZ plan and put this plan in, which would be more simple, but it will be very, very clear on what types of buildings, where they can go, types of uses, and so forth. So that would be very clear in the plan. Yes, sir.
Chad, thank you for coming out and doing this presentation. This is great, and the community needs to hear this. Based, in a perfect scenario, if this plan comes to fruition as it's designed today, how many doors would this be from a residential standpoint? What's total number of dwelling units for this based on what you've got?
Well, I think it will, this plan certainly is where we're talking through districts. Those districts have the ability where it may be less townhomes, some more multifamily. We're certainly planning on having living units over this live-work scenario within the town center, could be condos, make it walkable. So I hesitate to give you an exact number, but it all depends on what the use types of what comes and what goes. I mean, we've also thought about some active adult, as an opportunity for some of the residential. So depending on where that mix, that would certainly play into the toggle of the amount of density within residential.
I mean, 500 doors, 2,500 doors, I mean, some range between there.
I would say, 1,000 to 1,500. I mean, I would guess.
Thanks you.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I don't need that, I don't think.
Okay.
When do you anticipate breaking ground and actually moving forward? That's what I want to see.
Right, so so right now, the contract reads that we're closing on, or that last bookend date to close could be sent out to September 15th. However, I mean, going with this plan, it's more than just local zoning changes. It has to involve Tallahassee. So that is a little bit of a process that I can't speak to exactly. So we're laying out that timetable and those milestones as we speak. I would love to tell you that we're closing this year and we're breaking ground this year. That's our goal. But a little bit of the asterisk is how quickly we can get through the future land use plan change in Tallahassee, and that could take up to 6 months in its own right. Now, all of these things will be happening in parallel, so we're not waiting 6 months to start something else. We're moving forward with all other aspects of the formalities of getting approved simultaneously. But our goal would be to start infrastructure as early as the end of this year. I mean, that's our goal. Yes, sir.
Your goal is to start infrastructure at the end of this year. Where's the external part of the infrastructure going to start? The interchange isn't going in for 2 to 3 years. It's probably not really funded. 9 Mile needs to be addressed. Beulah Road needs to be addressed from one end of Beulah Road all the way to Mobile Highway at the very least.
I agree, and I wish...
And I know those are outside your purview.
Right.
But they have direct and serious consequences on your property.
Understood, and completely agree. And we're working with the county and with the state and we're having meetings with FDOT and others about timelines. So it's our hope that this project can help to, move some things forward maybe quicker. But you're right, it's outside my purview and out of my control. But I can tell you that if they know this is coming, it would certainly, I would think, from a sequence perspective, hopefully be moved up.
This is Northwest Florida. It doesn't happen.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thanks so much.
Can I ask one question?
Sure, yes, ma'am.
Beulah Road is US 90. So who has purview? It's not.
Yeah.
So it is a state road. It's not US highway anything.
9 Mile is 90. They're all 90, depending on how map you look at. 9 Mile is alternate 90. Mobile Highway is 90. Yes.
So alternate 90, which is alternate US 90, that still would just be state purview?
We're working with the county, that intersection. I know the county is addressing the intersection of Frank Reeder Road and Beulah. The widening would be, I think, initiative of the county and the state. I mean, all of these have to work together. And certainly the interstate exchange, whether it's 27 or whether it's 29 or whether it's 30, that is a big impact to Beulah Road, and there has to be coordination throughout all of that. Yes, sir.
My name's Richard Johnson, and I'm just curious about the traffic study. This traffic study you get, does it restrict you from anything when you find out something negative, like our roads can't handle this? Is it going to restrict you? I mean, it doesn't seem to be restricting anything in this community. Like, I don't know who's over these roads or who makes the decisions, but I drive them every day. And I don't think we're ready for that.
Yeah, well,
Not
the
until
amount
we
of...
get ready for other things, you know what I mean?
Right. The amount of growth that's happened, certainly there's an infrastructure catch-up that needs to happen regardless of what happens here. But the traffic study takes into account the density of outlying fields and showcases not only the direct, but the indirect need of infrastructure, all of which is being addressed and talked about through the pursuit and entitlement of this project.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the infrastructure in those roads a little bit later after Vicki gets a chance to talk, okay? So we can get more into this. Anything else you want to share, Chad?
No, sir. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you very much, Chad. I want to thank Chad. I don't know what it's like as a commissioner to work with developers, but we've been working hand in hand. We're partners. He came up to me just a moment ago, and I said, no, man, we're partners, you know? So I want to thank him for his constant contact with me. We've spoken many times on the phone. He's been in my office. I've been in his office. We're always talking. And if you remember the first time we met, Ashton and you, we talked, and I said, you know, when I worked with clients in the aerospace industry, I had to manage their expectations. And I said, talk to NFCU. You did. You talked to them. You're constantly talking to them. And you've talked to stakeholders in our community, too. And you're doing it tonight, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Chad. Okay, and he's been romancing me a lot with the pictures and stuff. So, and I'm falling in love with this. I told him also, one of the first things I told him was I said, I want you to build something that I want to move to, that I want to live, because I think that's what you guys want. You want something great, nothing shoddy, right? We don't want anything shoddy. And what he wants to build something that that people want to move to, and he's making me want to move here. I got grandkids and a daughter that lives up here, so he's making me want to come up here. So I've been talking about the romance. I don't want it to get weird. So I'll just introduce your District 1 ECUA board member, Vicki Campbell. Thank you, Vicki.
Thank you, Steve. I got to pull this down to short girl. Good evening. I'm Vicki Campbell, your ECUA representative for District 1, and I'm honored to serve this community. I'll be giving you an update tonight, and I'm prepared, but I always have talking points, because if I can get to talking, and I could talk all night long. So I try to keep to my points. So if I'm reading a lot, just forgive me. I really thank you for allowing me to speak. Please hold your questions to the end if you will, and I'll answer them all. I'm trying to get done in 10 minutes because I know it's going to get cold and you're ready to get home tonight. If I can't answer a question, I believe Bruce Woody is in the house back here, our administrator. I believe Hamid Razay is Hamid's here. He's got some pretty things to put up for ECUA as well. And if you have any questions, these guys will help me answer them. Stacy may be here as well. How many of you recycle? Raise your hand if you recycle. Thank you very much for doing that. And thank you for doing your part. I always like to remind folks, we don't recycle because making money. It's not a money maker. It's a cost avoidance. Everything that we put in the recycle is not $45 a ton to put in your landfill, and it increases the life of your landfill. If you don't want to recycle, I don't care. Don't do it. You can have 2 cans instead of a can and a recycle can, And if you do recycle and you put the wrong thing in the can, you're just costing everybody in this room more money. So if you're in doubt of what it is that you're throwing away, just throw it in the garbage can, okay? We have a higher percentage now than the city, believe it or not, of contamination. The city quit recycling. Who heard that we quit recycling? Okay, it wasn't Escambia County, it wasn't ECUA, it was the city of Pensacola, and they quit for a very good reason. Their contamination was over 60%. So we were charging them a whole lot more money than you, okay, to recycle. So what did they do? They quit. I think it was the most brilliant thing they've ever done. They quit, they took all the cans away, and then they offered it back if you pay for it. Now, if you pay for it, you're going to do it right, correct? Might have been the most brilliant thing they've ever done because their contamination rate now is below 10%. And yours is still 40. So guess what you're still doing? You're still throwing the wrong thing in the can. So we're taking away cans if you throw the wrong thing in there. Again, for the same price, you can have 2 garbage cans. So if you have a husband like I do, I have to watch my can constantly of what he's putting in there. And you don't want to watch that can, just get a second garbage can. We really don't care. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to move off of recycle, which is not my favorite thing to talk about, but I do love recycling. I do it myself. So when in doubt, toss it out. That's number 1. And if you misuse it, you might lose it. Sorry, we might come get it. Growth and infrastructure. That's what we've been talking about tonight. District 1 from Beulah all the way to Perdido, which I just inherited. They're both growing. That whole community is growing so fast. ECUA is working very closely with developers, builders, legislators to plan and support your growth. Here's a quick look at some of the projects that we have in Beulah right now. Frank Reeder Road. ECUA plans to install a portable water transmission main along Frank Reeder Road from Beulah east to Highway 297A. We have a map. I have a map if you want to see it, and come up and see me afterwards. That would connect to a proposed water well along the path. We are splitting the project into 2 phases. That'll allow us to install as much water line as we are able to while the details of OLF property unfold. The first phase of construction will essentially be the crossing of Interstate 10 at Frank Reeder and terminate at the proposed ECUA well site on Divine Farm Road. We anticipate that this first phase of the project will be advertised for bid within the next 4 months. We're trying to get out in front of all this growth. The subsequent phases of the main water transmission project are dependent on the timing of the construction of the new ECUA well site and the development of the OLFA field. The water main upgrade along Beulah Road and Helms Road, cost participation will be the upgrade of ECUA's water main from a 6-inch line to a 10-inch line in diameter. That is designed as a backbone part of the water distribution system, and the water main upgrade will consist of approximately 2 miles originating on Helms Road at the intersection of Beulah School Road to a point just south of Hurst Hammock Road, just south of the intersection of Hurst Hammock and Beulah. So again, I have a map. If you want to see it afterwards, come up and see me. Because of this designation as a transmission main backbone water system component, ECUA will be responsible for the cost of that upgrade, which is roughly $3 million. Let's pray that it comes down or stays the same and doesn't go up. Klondike Road. Who lives along Klondike Road where we had the issue last week? Last Friday, an ECUA employee unknowingly closed the wrong valve near a connection of new subdivision to the force main on Klondike Road. Not seeing the developer's connection valve was buried in the shoulder of the road, he mistook it for another valve that was only 30 inches away. Unfortunately, it was a line valve on the force main for the Klondike Road. It remained closed for several hours, which led to several upstream grinder pumps being affected. ECUA discovered the error and they quickly opened the valve, distributed flyers to the homeowners of the 2 small subdivisions that were and we contacted each one of them. If they had problems with grinder pumps, we are helping them. They also dispatched several plumbers who made repairs and replaced damage, and they found anything they found was at ECUA's expense. We certainly apologize for that error, and we are hopeful that our prompt response and repair of any damage was a welcome and anticipated and appreciated thing. The new transfer station, we've already received FDOT permit for driveway improvement at Pine Forest Road, our main entrance. The FDAP has permitted the construction of the transfer station through the Solid Waste Division. FPL has the new power transformer on order and prepared plans for our Phase 3 power to the building. Escambia County's Development Review Committee has reviewed the plans and is now waiting on final review of our stormwater management plan. That plan is dependent upon the remaining steps of approving the soil analysis, which is existing, and one proposed stormwater detention basin to conform percolation rates. Following DRC approval, it will go to the Board of County Commissioner for final approval due to the transfer facility being a special use category for planning. The project is expected to bid out this fall. It will then take approximately 18 to 20 months to construct, and it will allow for our trucks to get off of Beulah Road and 9 Mile Road going up to that landfill. Now you will just see one 18-wheeler going up there. The trucks will get back on the road picking up garbage like they're supposed to do. Anybody from Bellevue here? Okay, Bellevue, the most recent update of the East UA's water system master plan included a project to install portable water transmission distribution main along Michigan Avenue from North W Street to Blue Angel Parkway. The transmission distribution main is needed to maintain water system pressure and improve water supply and delivery. The overall project has been divided into phases, Phase 1 being completed last year, late 2025, and I'm pleased to say we were able to coordinate with the county and FDOT to get the project completed ahead of their work at the intersection of Michigan and Mobile Highway. It's a prime example of how our ongoing utility coordination with other agencies saves taxpayers and ratepayers money. As funding is available, which I hope will be in FY27, we plan to move forward with additional phases that will carry the water main from the intersection of Port Royal Court and Softly Field Road west to Blue Angel. The last phase will then be constructed in FY28 from the intersection of Esperano Drive and Michigan Avenue eastward to almost to the intersection there of W Street. And I would note that these time frames are only estimates, so don't bank on them, but we've been pretty good about meeting time frames. We built that sewer treatment plant ahead of schedule and below budget. Septic to sewer expansion. I know Beulah hates when I say those words. Septic to sewer expansion. We continue to work with property owners, staff, legislators to secure funding for septic to sewer conversion. If you want sewer service, now is the time to talk to me about that to get into the next 5-year budget cycle. People don't care about that much here down in the southern end of the district towards Perdido and near the water. People care more about that. So water quality, while most of you like to talk about trash and growth, the thing that keeps me awake every night is water quality. So you may have heard of PFOAs and PFOS. Those are chemicals that are found in firefighting foam. They're in furniture, cookware, candy wrappers. They're even in your dental floss. These things are dangerous if they get into your water. Okay, so the state is likely to mandate GAC filters on everybody's water wells in the future. We have jumped way ahead. If you look at most of our wells, you'll see the big GAC filters, okay? Those take all of the PFOA and PFOS out. We've already installed them on all the high-risk wells, and we continue to expand those and put them on all the wells. We also led the charge in a lawsuit against the chemical manufacturers of 3M. We were a bellwether for that case, and I'm happy to say we won, and we've already started receiving between $50 and $80 million. That money will go directly back into your water system. I promised you, If you know me, you know I am a freak about technology. I have been paperless since 1999 in my own business. I promised you a new app to replace that Recycle Coach app, which really hasn't been what I thought it would be, which we outgrew, and it's coming in 2026. You'll be able to report a missed pickup. You'll be able to report a missed pickup for trash or recycle, report a water outage, and anything else. Just about anything else. These are some, I'm going to let Hamid, do you want to tell them about it? Sure. All right, I'm going to let Hamid tell you about it. This guy is my favorite employee at ECUA right now. You are going to love this app for your phone. You're going to live with it, okay? Thank you, Hamid.
Hello, I'm Hamid Razay. I'm the Director of Information Technology at ECUA. So about 6 months ago, we really started developing an app, and the whole point of this app is to strengthen our relationships with our customers. What we're trying to do is make it easier to communicate with staff, and then get access to all of, the most important resources at ECUA very quickly and easily in a modern, sleek app. So on February 16th, we're going to be releasing My ECUA. It's fully branded, custom for ECUA. We control all the content in-house. It was developed in-house. It will be available in the Apple Store and on Google Play. So I just want to give you a sneak peek at some of the coolest features. You will be able to pay your bill. As you can see, you can pay as a guest, or you can log in, create an account, and set up, auto billing, so you won't have to pay, if that's what you want to do. And then you will also be able to make a service request. One of the great things about this app is when you start the process of making a service request, which is as easy as just clicking on a button here, it brings up the option to put in a photo to the request, and you can do that right from your phone's camera. Like when you click that add photo, it just opens your phone's camera. So if you got something you need ECUA to see right away, you don't have to go through all the trouble of uploading a photo or trying to put it onto a website. You can do it right here with your phone's camera. The second part of the request process is the location of the request. So based on the photo that you take, the request will, the location will automatically load, so you won't have to worry about entering an address or anything like that, and it will get pinned on a map right there. And then you'll have all the most common request categories built in. For emergency situations, it's still going to be better to call, but for something like a missed can, a meter leak, a bulk pickup, all those things, you'll be able to make that request right on the app, as you can see. You'll also have a quick access to all of our most important links on the website, as well as some additional content that we created just for the app. Things like career opportunities. I know there's a lot of talk about great jobs. Well, you'll be able to see all ECUA's current openings right from the app, and we do have openings. It's a great place to work, so you'll be able to do that right from the app. There's going to be an employee self-service portal where employees will be able to access their paycheck, W-2s, things like that. And one of the most important things, too, is you're going to be able to instantly view any active advisories. If there's a boil water notice or if something happened in your neighborhood, you're going to be able to view it right there, and it's going to be pinned on a map. As you can see right here, this is the actual notice, but if you minimize that, it's just going to show the pins on the maps of all the advisories. I mean, hopefully there's none, but if there is any, you'll see them right there on the map. So you're going to have your own dashboard. Like when you click on your profile in the account, if you choose to create an account, you can make requests as a guest. But if you have multiple service requests, you'll be able to see them with the current status. And one of the great things about this app that I think everybody's going to love is you're going to have channeled communication directly with staff. So what I mean by that is if, for example, you put in a bulk pickup, you take your picture, request is submitted. If it doesn't get picked up for whatever reason, you're going to be able to make a comment here on the app, potentially add another photo, and staff's going to have to respond. Because on the flip side of that, there's going to be a dashboard that staff operates with all these requests. Some of them may generate additional work orders, others may just be a phone call back, but it's basically going to force communication between the customer and staff and keep you up to date on the status. Like if you have a damaged can, for example, you're going to know when that can's going to get replaced because you're going to be able to communicate back and forth. You'll also be able to sign up here for emergency notifications. If you're not already on the Everbridge notification list, it's kind of a mutual thing between the county, city, and ECUA. You'll be able to sign up quickly on the app so you get all those emergency notifications. You'll be able to make any details or, add any extra descriptions you need to on your service requests. And then another great thing about the app, so this is all going to be geo-fenced based on the services we offer, which means somebody in, like, for example, Mobile won't be able to get on this app. They'll be geo-fenced out of the requests. But one of the great things is any public-facing requests, and what I mean by that is, like, for example, a major leak or a major boil water notice will be pinned on the map. So anything active, if you prefer a map view and not a text-based view, you're going to see these pins of things that you need to be aware of. So, yeah, so, I could sit here and talk about the app all night because, I helped develop it, but those are what I believe some of the coolest features. But again, we control this app in-house, so as customers download it and needs evolve, we're kind of future-proof now because we'll be able to develop the app and meet the needs of the customers. But the biggest thing is we want to open up that communication, which I feel right now is lacking when you have an issue, and you won't have to call the call center, wait in the queue. You'll just be able to carry on that communication until the work order's closed and completed. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Hamid, but this is District 1. They don't have any problem getting communication to their representative. I'm going to take questions. Just 1 second. I just want to say real quick, thank you, Steve, for allowing us to come. And please sign up. If you haven't signed up with your cell phone number for that, just do, because it's going to be really great. I'll take any questions that you have about ECUA. Yes, sir.
With the influx of new families moving into our community, we're full. That being said, mornings and afternoons, our water pressure goes down immensely. That being said, I spoke with 2 of your employees in the Kingsfield Beulah Road area who told me that they were going to put new wells in that area to help with the pressure differential. Can you speak on that?
Yes, sir. Bruce, do you want to come up and give us an in-depth on that? That was part of what I was talking about, was the new water mains and lines going in, but we are also putting in new wells in that area.
Yeah, as Ms. Kim, sorry, I didn't hear, ask the right, thank you. As Ms. Campbell mentioned, there's going to be significant improvements along Frank Reeder Road and Divine Farm Road. On the north side of I-10, on Divine Farm Road, we've already drilled a pilot well and getting ready to construct a new well at that location. I haven't decided yet whether our ground storage water tank is going to be located there or someplace to the west. That's going to evolve as we have more discussions with OLF 8 development. We're also going to be constructing an 18-inch water main from 297 all the way down Frank Divine, all the way across Frank Reeder, and past Frank Reeder a little ways to the west.
Yes, sir.
I got the opposite problem. I'm off of Muldoon, and y'all increase the pressure too much, and you got 160 PSI pipes, and they're busting, whatever. Can y'all put a pressure regulator before the meter?
Can you get with Bruce afterwards and give him your phone number and name, and he'll take care of you. Any other questions about ECUA? Yes, sir. February 16th. This is going to be my birthday present. My birthday is February 17th. Thank you, Hamid. Any other? Yes, ma'am. Hi.
I heard the question about the water pressure, but your answer was not exactly in the area where our water pressure is. We live in Arbor Ridge or Deer Run, closer to Kingsfield off of Beulah Road. And I concur, sometimes it's just a trickle, and I don't know why.
Although that sounds like quite a distance from what I just described, I promise you that I have a remarkable impact throughout that area. It's not. It does several things. It provides a new source of water at the well. It provides a groundwater storage tank, probably be in the 3 to 5 million gallon range. It'll provide increased flow, which helps pressure due to the conveyance between 297 and Beulah. And it creates a loop that doesn't exist at present. As OLF 8 is developed, there'll also be a north-south feeder that'll go through that development from Frank Reeder back to 9 Mile. That also helps circulation. Improved circulation will be felt well north of that area as a result.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Yes, ma'am.
The trucks will no longer be, eventually, no longer be going up down Beulah Road. Exactly what direction are they going to be taking to get to the landfill?
They're not going to the landfill when now, if they're picking up on Beulah Road, that'd be one thing. They would go up there. You know, there will be garbage trucks on Beulah Road. But right now, every garbage truck has to go up Beulah Road. Every garbage truck has to go down 9 Mile Road. So what's going to happen is we're opening a transfer station in the center of the county, and all the trucks coming from the Pensacola Beach, Perdido Key, east side of town, they're all going to drop at an inside facility into a closed area 18-wheeler. The 18-wheeler will go to the landfill and drop off all of that. So it's really going to cut down on the traffic on your roads. And it's way, way, way overdue. Thank you. Yes, ma'am?
What's your email address?
Vicky.campbell@ecua.fl.gov.
Is that VICKIE?
I, just an I,
Dot Campbell.
at ecua.fl.gov. It's on the website, as well as all 5 of the representatives, and my phone number is on there as well. Yes, sir.
Fire hydrant.
Fire hydrants.
What's the maximum distance between fire hydrants?
That's almost a planning code issue. It varies a little bit, I believe, by zoning as well.
But you all put them in, right?
Developer puts them in as development occurs over time. We maintain them, replace them as needed.
So for a residence that doesn't have a fire hydrant within 1,500 feet, what are the remedies? It was not a developer developed
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. You can make a request, and we can do a study and do some comparisons. More often than, if it's an acknowledged deficiency and there's a means to add one on an existing line, sometimes that will be done by ECUA. If it requires a main extension because there isn't enough flow to provide that additional service at that particular location, then we may have to talk to you about a MSBU.
Thank you, Bruce. That it? Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Bruce. Okay. So, the county has been busy in Beulah. I've heard that you think that I forgot about you since I was elected. I have not. And I'm going to introduce Michael Rhodes. He's going to come up here to talk about the regional park improvements, the equestrian center, and the senior center. I will tell you this before he starts, is that we're not doing a community center at the equestrian center. No community center there. And I think Hassan's probably answered those emails and let everybody know that. It's something that nobody wants there. I did talk to Chad Henderson about doing the same thing over at I did talk to Chad Henderson about a community center over at OLF 8 because we need some place larger to do these kinds of things. I don't think we're turning anyone away, but I think we could get more people in here that would love to, sharpen their pitchforks and light their torches when the commissioner shows up. So, anyway. I'll introduce here. So this is Michael Rhodes, hardworking Parks and Recs Director. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, sir. Thank you for having me, Commissioner. So if it's okay with everybody, what I'd like to do is go through this relatively quickly. I've got bullet points for all three facilities that Commissioner has spoken about. If you was, all right, let's see here. Let's start with Beulah Regional Park. As you can see, if you're right down the street, we closed the park on January 20th to start our work with demolition and repairs and a lot of upgrades. So let me go through these, and I'm going to go through the upgrades, and they're in process now. Parking lot and ADA enhancements. We're adding 4 new ADA handicap parking spots. We're adding 35 additional parking spots total. Again, that's 4 additional handicap spots, 35 additional spots. A new splash pad. And I have to give credit to Commissioner Strohberger and Hassan. They've been on me pretty good, and I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. Hassan spent some hot hours out at Beulah Regional Park surveying folks, and he came back to me and he said, we're getting a splash pad. And I said, we'll order a splash pad. So I will tell you, the form is done for it, and it's coming. The goal for that is to have that open by public school spring break in mid-March. Okay? Now, it'll be done by mid-March. We might have a little grand opening pending on the weather. In reality, it will come on. It's an automated system, which is awesome because you don't have to have it manned. It'll be automated on from like 8:39 in the morning till sunset. We can program it from my computer or my phone. It's going to be very, very neat. Frankly, I don't want to brag on this, but it's the first splash pad in Escambia County in the parks inventory, so I'm happy about that. That's coming. For the pickleball advocates in the room, we have 4 new pickleball courts that are transitioning. We're keeping the 1 tennis court and creating 4 pickleball courts. So you're going to have a tennis court and 4 pickleball courts. I watch the social media. I have to tell you, I don't participate in it. Sometimes it makes me angry, so it's just best at times I don't see it. But I want to eliminate any of the concerns. We are keeping tennis, and you're going to have 4 pickleball courts and 1 tennis court. And we reserve the right to monitor that in the coming years and see what we have to do. I'm confident it's going to be very popular, and so that's something, and I don't want to talk about this. We can't do everything at once. We're trying to do as much as we can in this first year of Commissioner Strohberger in this Beulah area, and I'll get to that in a minute. Other thing, new basketball court. Not resurfaced, my staff reminded me, a brand new basketball court, because we're slightly shifting the basketball court, taking out the old court, shifting it slightly, and we're doing that because of drainage. And I'm not getting all into that, but we're shifting it slightly to make more sense within the park. And Hassan, avid basketball guy, he tells me that we got to have single rims. We're having single rims because it's a little bit better for shooters on the three-point line. You get softer rims, so it's going to be one of the only parks with single rims, not double rims that clank off the backboard and so forth. New picnic tables, metal picnic tables and park benches, taking out the wood. Resurfaced track, okay? And a thing that wind burned a little bit today because I went and wheeled 2 tracks, and I'll get to that in a minute. This will be a 1/3 mile track, right at 1/3 of a mile. When it's all done and we do a grand reopening at the park, we will have a sign, like a start-finish line that says, the start line, so you know how many laps you got to do a mile for those wanting to time it. So walking track improvements, let's just call it that. Additional grills. We have 2 nice grills coming. You might have already seen some of the split rail that's been either cleaned or brand new split rail coming. A brand new park entry sign that I have to thank Casey and CMR for some guidance on that. We have a very nice park sign. I believe my guys told me they took down the existing sign today. We got a brand new sign coming and ordered. A lot of this was done a lot of it with the mindset of we're improving internal park drainage. So we're hoping to create not as many bird baths in the tennis court or the basketball court. So we've shifted a little bit, but all in the mindset of increased better drainage within the park. I saw something online about, are we getting rid of the dog park or making substantial changes? Absolutely not. You have a very nice dog park. The only thing I'll say is moving forward, we certainly might add some amenities within the dog park. You're welcome to email Hassan or myself about stuff. It's not in this first phase, but let me make very sure you understand, we're not taking away the dog park. I would never do that. I'm happy with the dog park. It's got a lot of shade in it. I'm not crazy about pine trees, but some are, but we've got plenty of shade out there. Dog park's not going away, and we reserve the right to make some enhancements down the road. Part of the repairs and refurbishment out there, we're going to make sure the water fountain works at the dog park. That has been a problem. It's funny, I have another park that the water lines are out because of the freeze, and I'm like, well, we have a work order in to fix it, but we're not going to touch it until next week because we'd be replacing. I have a feeling we're going to have some problems on Saturday with the cold weather, so we're getting on that. But the other thing that I want to make sure, we're putting a very nice, after the COVID situations for several years ago, water fountains kind of went away across public parks. It's just not a good idea. You can't keep them clean with birds doing what they got to do in the bird baths. People are unsanitary stuff and so forth. But we have a very nice modern water bottle filler. So when it's sensorized and you put your water bottle under it, fill up your water bottle as much as you please. And that's going to be connected to the bathroom, which at the last part of this project at Beulah Regional, that'll happen probably in late February, March, we're redoing the bathroom with upgraded fixtures, plumbing, paint job. It's going to be toward the end of the project with internal staff. Again, that's Beulah Regional. There's a lot of work going on. I'm not going to promise you when it's going to be done, but I'm trying to get it done by public school spring break, which I want to say is in mid-March. I'm giving that deadline to myself, and I hope I beat it. Okay? If you can, I want to transition into Beulah Senior. All right? Beulah Senior, I got good news on that because it says coming soon, I believe. Maybe I thought it did. I thought it said coming soon. But anyway, Beulah Senior right down the street, parking lot upgrades, walking track resurfacing and restoration has been completed as of yesterday. We got to put a sign up, so I'm not saying this is all finished, but the sidewalk connectivity and the enhancements, resurfacing of the trip hazards and so forth at the track, that has been done. In addition, I want to compliment Hassan and Mr. Stroberg and his assistants pushed for a basketball court. Now, it's not NBA regulation size because there's not enough room, but we took what was already there. We have repurposed, and we have a new basketball court out at Beulah Senior, okay? New goals coming in. The pad is already there. We do have to put the goals up. I heard somebody in the back talking about a new playground. I got great news about the playground. Playground's done. I'm finishing it up tomorrow with what we call fall surface wood chips for protective surfacing. We're doing that tomorrow, weather permitting, which I think we got a good day tomorrow, not Saturday. But I think we're going to have a brand new playground open for the public. It's more visible. I heard somebody, I don't know who was talking to me in the back about that. I'm excited to open a brand new playground at the facility, basketball court. All those are going to be done in the next couple weeks. I'm transitioning from Beulah Senior to Beulah Regional, which we've already started the work, but the manpower and so forth that was Beulah Senior playground, that same company and so forth is going to transition down the street to Beulah Regional, splash pad folks and others, and along with a lot of my staff. The length of the walking track at Beulah Senior, 1/5 of a mile, okay? So you're basically getting 1/5 of a mile track at Beulah Senior, 1/3 of a mile track at Beulah Regional, okay? That is awesome. The density of these parks is very tight. There's a lot of folks across Escambia County that don't have the density, the nice parks in a tight area as this. And last but not least, I want to transition to the Equestrian Center, which is right here as well. One of the hidden gems in Pensacola and Escambia County. Creates a ton of economic impact, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I don't want to talk about the economic impact it brings in, $7 million. But I'm not going to brag on that. I want to talk about it as a public facility, all right? And by the way, while Beulah Regional is shut down, more than welcome to go next door to the Equestrian Center and walk as much as you want to. We've got plenty of places out there to walk, and walk till you fall out. I mean, we have got plenty of walking areas at Beulah Regional and then right next door. And before I go any further, there's 3 ladies in the back that work at the Parks Department that work at the Equestrian Center. Pam, Christina, and Tammy. They came, I didn't know they were going to be here, I got to tell you the truth, but I can't thank them enough for being here. They are the ladies that make it work at the Equestrian Center, and I'm serious. They're the ones who keep me out of a lot of issues, and they, long story short, if there's not a lot of calls downtown at times, they're doing a really good job of managing the place, and y'all have no idea how many folks go out there, from dog groups to monster truck shows to the dog shows to, of course, the equestrian folks. So I can't thank you ladies enough for being here, but frankly, the customer services you provide out there, sometimes it can be a tough crowd. We all know that. They're paying money to come here to bring a lot of money invested into horses, and we can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough for being here tonight and making that place run smooth, okay? All right, I'm going to try to go quick. I know people got places to go and other speakers. Equestrian Center, and this doesn't mean a lot to a lot of folks. We've got a new tractor that was purchased in the summer of '25 that helps support all the events. Why is that important? The footing in the horse arenas are what makes it tick. It's what the high-dollar horse owners want out there. You have to have good footing. They've invested hundreds of $1,000s in the footing. I mean, in their horses, we have to have good surface so they're not getting hurt. So, new tractor was purchased for to maintain. A high level of footing was provided in all outdoor arenas, okay? That was done in the summer of '25 as well, okay? A new electronic gate. It's not perfect yet, and I know it's not perfect, but we purchased and installed a new electronic gate. Again, I'm not an IT guy. I don't have it just set up right, and Pam will get on with me about that. It's not just right yet, but it was done for security purposes for not only staff, but for campers out there overnight for better ingress and egress in the middle of the night so that we could have folks, if they're staying on site, if they're wanting to go get a bite to eat in town or so forth, and there's a lot of other reasons. New LED lights for the covered arena are purchased. The facility department will be helping us put those in the coming weeks. We're trying to get this done. The facility is always busy. It's super busy with spring horse season. We have purchased LED lights for a good portion of money. You might ask why we buy LED lights. Well, A, it's a better lighting component, but we spend a lot of money on repairs over the years on the normal halogen type lights. LEDs are the way to go. Our cost will go down in time, and our repairs will certainly go down. 32 new trees were planted at the facility in the last 6-7 months to provide just better aesthetics around the facility. Again, I talked about drainage work. Drainage work was performed. The drainage work was performed, okay, so that when we put this new footing in the outdoor arenas, without the drainage work, we're not getting the bang for our buck for the footing that we put in the arenas. So we had to tackle one before we could tackle the other, which we've done that. Restrooms. I'm working with the facility department, about to cut a PO for our company and our staff to do work on the restrooms and refurbish the restrooms. Again, the goal is to have this done for the spring horse season, which is about to crank off here late February, March, even though we know we're busy all the time. But again, we got a lot of groups coming in the spring time frame. Last but not least, a couple things we're looking at in the I'll say 2000, it's hard to say 2026, but 2026 and late in this budget cycle, along with next budget cycle, we're looking at an electronic marquee. They're a lot more expensive than I really thought they would be, but we're looking at an electronic marquee to promote the facility out on the road, talk about events and so forth, along with, we've made some sound system improvements, but we're looking at an overall sound system that projects to the whole facility, inclusive of the indoor, not just working on the indoor facility, but something that can project for the whole system. Those are late this year, early next year, depending how the budget shakes. Might be in the calendar year, but it might be in the next budget year right after October. I'm going to try to close out here. Again, we can't do this all yesterday. We've done a lot in the last several weeks and several months under the direction and support. I want not just direction, but the support from Commissioner Strohberger and his office. We thank you for pushing this, and we do appreciate it. We do appreciate the communication. I want to point out that there's several other departments, and I'm going to screw up by not mentioning some. This is a big team in Escambia County, bottom line, from commissioner level to director level, but other departments, and I'm going to leave somebody out, but I have to mention our partnerships with the road department, public safety, CMR, IT, public safety for sure. I know I'm leaving the administrative department, but public safety, I mean, they're at the equestrian center sometimes when y'all don't even know it, okay? Another group that I can't leave out, that I probably bug way too much. I see Ronnie Rivera somewhere back there, but I meet with the sheriff department, and I don't broadcast it. That's another thing. I'm not going to go tout that I meet with the sheriff department every month. I'm on a committee that meets with the sheriff department every month, along with one of my staff members, along with Tim Day and several others, that we talk about just general issues across Escambia County. And I will tell you, we try to stay ahead of it and proactive, but when we have issues, and we have issues. I'm going to brag about Beulah. We don't have near as many issues in Beulah as we have in other locations, but we have a great relationship with the Escambia County Sheriff Department, Ronnie and his team, and if we have issues, we can get them out there. Notice I didn't talk about security cameras. I don't tout that. I will tell you there's security cameras at Beulah Regional Park, and there might be one or two more added, and they're coming at Beulah Senior as well. Why I don't talk about that is because I don't need everybody to know where the security cameras are. And they're not, listen, we have 100+ park properties. We can't be at every park every day, and frankly, we can't be at every park every week. I cannot appreciate y'all's communication with myself in a professional, communicated manner, along with Hassan, and the relay between Hassan and myself is great. I mean, it's consistent, it's tight, and it's good. My staff, I've got a staff of 30, and we oversee 102, 103 park properties. We can't get there every week. Just ain't happening, okay? But open lines of communication, we will do our absolute best to get there. We have to prioritize safety issues. So, again, I appreciate it. Y'all are truly blessed, and I know I'm here to talk about Beulah tonight. You've got Beulah Regional, Beulah Senior, the Equestrian Center, and don't forget the Navy Federal Park that's open to the public, that's in the big radius as well. Between those 4 properties, it's pretty dang nice, and y'all should be proud of it. And the only thing I ask, be our eyes and ears, be proactive in calling us. If you see something, say something, please do, and we'll do our absolute best to respond as soon as possible in a prioritized manner. Thank you. If you have any questions, just in light of time, if you could, I'll stick around for a little bit after the meeting, or if you could email Hassan. He's got my email. He'll likely forward me any questions, and I'll do my best to respond back. It may not be Friday, but it'll be Monday, Tuesday at the worst. I certainly appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. I wish we could have ended on that, because that's fantastic. Now it's my turn. So, about the roads. Let's go back to what Michael was just talking about. The splash pad is pretty cool. I think there was some resistance to some splash pad at first, but we were pretty insistent on it, and it is going to be the first one. And it's not just for the kids, it's for me too, and it's for you, Peter. We can all use that splash pad. It's going to be great if adults can use that thing. I know that Hassan is looking forward to dunking on seniors at the senior center really soon. How many people use the senior center? How many people go there? I've seen you. I've seen you folks. I've seen Andrew there. It's a full house over there, and we're talking about expanding it. We want to make it bigger because, Hassan and I were there for the Christmas party, and every seat's taken, and they have a great event there. Hey, how's it going, man? And I think it needs to be bigger. It needs to be bigger and more welcoming. We can improve it, so we're going to do more for the senior center than what we've already done. Okay. So, I-10 at 9 Mile Road, that interchange, exit 5, the construction there, that's going to be completed mid-2028. I know, that's a long time. That's in concert with the rest of the I-10 improvements that they're doing. Beulah Road, the resurfacing from Mobile Highway to Isaacs Lane, that's anticipated to be completed in the fall of 2026. That sounds pretty good, huh? Extending the 4-laning of 9 Mile Road, that's a priority for the TPO, but it's not a priority this year or next year. So I don't know if that was something anyone was concerned. I know I've gotten an email about 4-laning, continuing the 4-laning of 9 Mile Road. It will get done someday. I-10 at US 29, If you guys are interested in that, that's a big mess, and I try to stay off I-10 these days. That's anticipated to be completed in 2030, so quite a ways. So a lot to avoid there. Beulah Road, and I-10, that interchange, that's going to start in May of 2027, so not too far away. Now, how long it's going to take, that's another factor, another question. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is the Beulah Master Plan. So, how many people have seen the Beulah Master Plan besides Teresa, besides Peter, besides you? Yeah, it's not really, it's about, we got it in our office. It's about 3 inches thick. It's big, but it's not a plan at all. It's a vision plan. But what you think you have is a master plan is not. It's a vision plan. So what is a vision plan? A vision plan is a community-driven policy guide. That's all it is. So you get together, you tell us what you think, and you decide what you want Beulah to become. And that's what that plan is. If you want to see it, I don't think you want to download it. You can come by and look at it. You could probably look at it online too. It is not adopted in the comprehensive plan. It's not enforceable at all. Okay? It's just a vision. It typically includes guiding principles, preferred development patterns, and high-level infrastructure goals. What it can do is it can guide the Board of County Commissioners' decisions and provides justification when denying or approving rezoning. And it also guides staff recommendations as well. What it cannot do is you can't change zoning. It cannot change zoning. It doesn't override property rights. A vision plan is just a compass. It's a big vision plan. But it's just a compass, and like I said, it just focuses on what residents want Beulah to become. Now, the master plan is different, and that's what I think everybody thinks they have. So I've talked with Development Services about it, and we're going to start working on that. It's a master plan would be a detailed planning document, and that's not what we have right now. And I think we often call it a sector plan. I think a sector plan is similar to that. Legally, it's adopted by ordinance by the county commissioners. We vote on it, and it's integrated in the comprehensive plan. What it can do is it can direct rezoning, okay? And it can provide clear legal grounds for approvals and denials of the properties. What it cannot do is let's see if I can. So we can't take property without due process, what it cannot do. Or ignore vested rights or bypass statutory comprehensive plan procedures. A master plan, though, is a rule-setting document, okay? So it's not just a vision. So what I'm doing next month in February, I'm going up to D.C. for something called the Northwest Florida Defense Coalition. And I'm going to be visiting some folks up in Congress and in the Pentagon, too. But one of my stops, the first thing I'm going to do while I'm there on February 10th is I'm going to visit with a lady named Marina Corey. She's a partner and the director of the DC office there for DP Co-Design. I'm going to visit with her and talk about the Beulah Master Plan, because really I just want to bounce some things off of her. I think that does everyone understand who DP Co-Design is? I know some of you do. I know some of you do, and I know that some of you really trust what that design is, not just for the Beulah Master Plan, but also for the OLF 8 plan, master plan, as well as Perdido Key Master Plan. I'm going to talk about all those things, but specifically about the Beulah Master Plan. What I want to do with her is I just want to be able to talk about and define what I want, including the OLF 8 plan, what we're doing with Chad Henderson. I want to bounce that off her and see if that's what she was envisioning when she was creating these plans for us. But let me skip right here. So when I see Marina, The reason I want to talk with Marina Corey is because she really stands at the intersection of the plan, of the master plan and the vision. She's the one who can connect the dots for us. So their core competency is exactly what is needed to fill the gap, I think. So my discussions with her are going to be exploratory, and the first thing I'm going to do when I get there, she's invited me to go visit Kentlands. It's a DPZ co-design development they've done. So I'm going to go visit that with her, and then we're going to go to her office and talk some more. And I'll let you know. I'll come back with a trip report so you know exactly what we talked about. But the idea is to talk to her and pressure test this Beulah vision plan and make it an actual master plan. That's what I want to do. But there's still a lot of steps we got to take before we get to where we actually have a master plan. And the first thing we have to do, and this is after coming back, and this is going to be a process, okay? But we can't do any of the stuff. Everybody wants to protect Beulah, and we can't do that with a vision plan. So what we have to do first is we have to formally direct the staff to initiate a Beulah small area or sector plan. And that includes defining the scope, and explicitly, the BCC's got to direct that vision plan. Otherwise, it stays, or has to direct to make it a master plan. Otherwise, that vision plan stays advisory. That's all it is, and it's just advisory forever. We have to translate that vision into policy, so that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to the staff will convert that vision into defining the land use districts, the densities, the roads, all that stuff. This is where where what we think we like becomes what we want everything to be. And there's several other steps we need to take we can talk about, but at the point where we do public hearings, that's when you will actually, Beulah gains its real land use authority. And that's where we want to get to, okay? Any questions about what I was talking about? Go ahead, Teresa.
I should have a microphone, whoever's doing that.
Is Alicia still here?
Sorry about that. Our scope of work was for a Beulah master plan. The county fell down on the job on this. They allowed that developer, or that planner, which I told them all along, they are a day late and $1 short. They allowed them to send in a memo which said, we're going to create a vision plan. What Marina told me is that's not even a vision plan. It's not a plan that says, here's what you're gonna do, these items. It's, here's a list of things you could do, and here's what we would charge, or the charge is to be estimated later. So the county really fell down on this. We paid almost $600,000 for something that is not usable. DPZ would have done an actual master plan for just a little more than half that. It would have been something we can put in our land development code. And so, you know, we can't just say, DPZ, come do a master plan, because that, you know, legally has to go out again, you know, and hopefully they would apply. I mean, they were turned down 2 or 3 times, but you know, you have to go through the regular procurement process, and we already have a scope of work, we already have documents where we went out and used before, and those would accomplish all that. But to try and shoehorn what this other contractor did, we just need to go out again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. So part of my mission to go up there is to also romance, you know, romance is the operative word now, is to convince her to kind of help us again. Because like I've been in lots of communication with her, and it stings a little bit, but she told me, I mean, they've been in business 40 years, and she's probably been with them for 30 of those years. And she told me they're coming to Escambia County was the first time they'd ever been fired from a job. fired from a job. So I think for them, it stings and it's a little insulting, you know? I know how world-class these guys are, and I know Marina Corey. So I think that we need to go back and, you know, I'm not going, on knees to do this. I think we've been talking enough. I think Teresa talks with her too. So we can get her to come out here and help finish the job that she started with us. That's what I'd like to do.
Great, that would be great.
Yeah, so is there any questions about the Beulah Master Plan or the Vision Plan or anything in between? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question, I don't know if it's about the master plan, but, so word on the street, or some people had said about having maybe a sheriff's department or hub or something at the equestrian center. Is that an option, or?
I'd heard that, and I've also seen the emails about it, and I don't think anyone wants that there, right? Is that right?
That would be correct.
Okay.
I mean,
It's
I
not-
would imagine.
That's not going to happen. That's not happening. But I will tell you, I think the substation, is it in Cantonment? Where's it? I'm sorry? Okay, that's the closest substation. I think it's still adequate for us, right, out here in Beulah? Mm,
amount of new folks coming into Beulah,
yeah.
the response time is not what it needs to be.
Mm. Okay.
So, to answer your question, unless we have more deputies on the street, they can use that as a hub, but as of right now, we do not have good response times.
Okay.
And that's also with EMS.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, that's true all throughout District 1, down in Perdido. It's the same, we have the same issue there. There is a new, this, not to change the subject, but we're getting 2 new fire stations in District 1. One's going to be over there by Paradise Beach, where they've been missing a fire station for about 8 years now. They had a volunteer station there, and that station leaving has amounted to about a 350% increase in people's insurance rates over there. And it affected about 3,000 homes. So it'll be a boost to the economy in that area. And there's also going to be another one going on Kingsfield Road over by Ransom Middle School too. That's pretty close by. And you've got the Taj Mahal a little bit down the road from you on 9 Mile Road. Yeah. Getting back to the things that we're doing here that Michael Rhodes talked about. During an election year, and this isn't one for me, and I don't know if there'll be another election year for me, but during an election year, that's when that's the time to ask your politician to do things. And you've seen the results of that. I came into this job and I didn't have any discretionary money, okay? I do now. It's a year later. We got discretionary funds, but that's not the way to do business, I don't think. I think that there were needs that needed to be done here. The Equestrian Center hadn't had an improvement in over 20 years, maybe longer. The regional park was falling apart. And the senior center needs a lot of love. And like I told you, there's lots of seniors there. So Hassan and I made it a mission to make those improvements now, not wait 2 years later to make an improvement so we can control your mind, say, oh, look what Stroberger did, look what Hassan's doing, That's not the way to do it. I mean, that's not the way you do it at your own house. You don't wait to make the improvements that have to happen today. So that's why we're doing it now. And we're looking for more to do. We're not looking to spend more tax dollars, but we're looking for more to do in all the regions, okay? Does anyone want to know? Yeah, go ahead. Andrew.
Wilson Robertson purchased the 40 acres on the North Perdido Bay for a boat ramp and a kids park or whatever.
Mhm.
I guess Wilson Robertson passed on or whatever. Jeff Gosh got Robert Turpin to go in there and mess over the property or whatever, made a Superfund site on the north of the parking lot. But we still don't have a kids park, and we don't have the access really to that north shore. I mean, the south shore on that North Perdido Bay. When are we ever going to develop that thing? I had the dream of having something like over there at Orange Beach kids park and the community center they have over there, the senior center and stuff like that. So I was wanting to have a mixed use thing, a kids park, community center, a digital library over there where you could just sit over there, Wi-Fi, look out over North Perdido Bay or whatever. Have a sky watch where you could go out on a fishing pier, observation deck, and look at the sky because there's less light pollution over the water. That never materialized with Wilson Robertson or with Jeff Bagash. So are you going to do anything with it?
I guess I got to. If that's something that we all want to do, what we got to look is we got to figure out where we want to spend the money, the limited amount of funds that we have to spend. If that's a place that we need to improve and we need to have a kids park there or all the other amenities you're talking about, then I'm happy to do that. But you know that myself and at least one, maybe two commissioners want to make some improvements at the county in the way that we want it to be as efficient as possible. I think the county runs pretty darn efficient now. I almost said damn efficient, but we're pretty darn efficient. But just like I said on the dais before, I said I think that we can probably make, we can find 2.5%. And that's what we're planning on doing. So if you want to know what I'm thinking about making some cuts of the county. But also making some, and some of those adjustments would be including getting rid of discretionary funds. I don't want to deal with discretionary funds anymore because I don't think it's something that I should be doing to decide what my favorite charity is that I'm going to spend your tax dollars on, Andrew. And another thing is the community partners. Now, I don't know if you've been listening to the news, if you've been watching or reading the news journal about some of the things with some of the NGOs we got in town. I want to get rid of our community partners too. Now, there'll be some adjustment to that. Some of them we can't. Some of them we can. But I think that we need to we shouldn't be doing that. There are other agencies that can fund that. I don't think that it's the county's job to do that, those sorts of things. That's just how I feel internally. You can try to convince me otherwise, and I'll listen to you. But generally, the people that are coming to talk to me about that are the NGOs, because they want me to keep funding them. And I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it. I mean, look what's going on up there. We got the Smalley Pirates up in Minnesota now. And we got people down here that are taking a little bit more than they should be taken to. So how does everybody feel about customary use? Does anyone here care about the subject of customary use? So, well, I'm glad you don't know. Because I thought we were going to have to lock the doors and we're going to get in a fist fight about this. So customary use is, it's a long history. I don't know if I want this on video, but it's complicated. We've essentially got folks that want customary use on all the beaches, essentially all over Florida, to include, Perdido Key. And I think Perdido Key is our beach, right? Beulah probably goes down to Perdido Key. But there are people down there that have bought properties, and they own those properties. Whether in the condo or they own a beach house, it goes, and their parcel and their deed is to the water. Now,
High water.
yeah.
The high water.
Well, no, to the water. So, well, yeah, okay. What I'm getting at is there's some folks that want to be able to, because customarily they would be able to go, they'd go fishing there or something. They want to be able to fish. They want to be able to traverse the beach line there. Well, I put myself in the same shoes of these folks, and maybe you're not doing that. And I think to myself, if I bought property there and I thought that was my beach line, and this all started with Governor Huckabee, I think in 2018, and then Governor Scott. People bought properties after that, and those people think they own the beach. So they've been paying a lot of money, they paid a lot of money, and they've been paying a lot of money in taxes. So what I don't like is I don't like it looking like a war zone down there with all the crime scene tape and stuff like that. and I don't know what started all this, but I know that the commissioners that were down there before were both on opposite sides of this issue. And I believe in property rights. I believe in property rights as well as I believe in public access. So here's what I'm doing down there. I met with Secretary Lambert. She's the Florida DEP secretary when I was in Tallahassee. And she and I put me in contact with her deputy, and we've talked already. And we're going to meet again. I'm going to go to Tallahassee and talk with them. And it's about a relationship, a partnership between us, the county, Escambia County, and DEP. And that's to be able to use the two state parks on Perito Key Drive, east and west. I don't know how much they're used, but every time I go by there, I don't see anybody there. It's only $3 to go there, but nobody goes. I mean, there was even discussion at a business development meeting about whether it was open or not. It's open, but people don't know it's open, or they just don't want to go there. I don't know what it is. I don't know how much money they take in, but that's one of the things we have to work out. We have to figure out what it's going to cost. So that's what I want to do. I want every Escambia resident to be able to use those parks for free. Go there, use them. The county will pay either upfront for everyone to go there and have a placard to go to the park, or we're gonna supplement them because they got a few employees, and we'll have to pay for that. Whatever that deal is going to look like, that's what I'd like to do. That'll expand beach access, because I don't think that we have a problem with necessarily the beach, the ability to get to the beach. It's the ability to park and go to the beach. So we do need some parking. Another thing is a gentleman that owns a couple of parcels next to Beach Access number 3. We're going to use some restore money and purchase that. We've already sent him a couple of appraisals. He wants more than that. That's got to go to the Board of County Commissioners, decide if we're going to spend more. That'll have to come out of the general fund, I guess, to an extra $1 million, but that'll provide more beach access too. That's what I want to do. I want to provide more beach access rather than get into a food fight with the condo owners, because the lawsuit with it in Walton County was $8 million plus, and if that's your money, that'll be your money here if we get into a lawsuit with the condo owners and all those folks down there. Now, some people think that we're not going to have that DeSantis instituting, giving the local municipalities and the counties the ability to employ customary use means there's not going to be any lawsuits. That's not true, because every one of them will still have their day in court if we decide to do that and then they get somebody in their backyard. An example for me is like where I live. I live on Inverarity Island, and I don't know if there were Indians, sending, smoking a peace pipe, or what they might have done in the past. But what was the custom there once upon a time? There was a time when all those lots were open, and John Inverarity, I guess, owned that thing. But who's to say that someone can't just come in my backyard and decide that I used to come here all the time when I was a kid, and this is what we did, So I liken that situation to what's going on at the beach. That's why I feel so strongly about this. This seems like a battle of the haves and the have-nots, and it shouldn't be. This shouldn't be. There was a time in this country, and I'm going to bring this up on the dais, where you didn't get a vote unless you owned property. And this is the reason why, because they don't want the masses, they don't want the angry crowd, the mob, to be able to take your property away from you and say, no, this is what we're doing, and I want you to vote for it, and I pay your salary, and all that other crap that I hear about commissioners, and didn't we hire them, and isn't it their job to do what we tell them to do? It's your job to advise me, and what I do is I make decisions based on the information I get from staff, the attorneys, and I get it from you too. And I make a decision based on that. It's the decision you would make if you knew what I knew. That's what I think. If you knew what I knew, you'd make the same decision. That's what I'm thinking. And I hope that you can live with that, because that's, I've said it on the dais, that's a hill that I'll die on. I'll die on that hill. And another thing I'm thinking about dying on is sunshine. I want to reform the sunshine law because I think it needs to be modernized. When I was in Tallahassee, I talked about that. I'm just trying to segue real fast away from the public beach thing. Yeah, go ahead, ma'am.
We all live here too, and I know exactly what you're saying, and
Mhm.
I agree with it 100%.
Mhm.
But if the county or whoever it is that gives these people the right to build on the beach, keeps
Right.
letting them build on the beach,
Mhm.
we're not gonna have a beach to go to.
You're right about
So
that.
that's where the problem is.
You're right about that. You're right about that. Go ahead. George, hi.
Hey, I got some information I'll send you about the beach, but if I recall, I did research 3-4 years ago, and you look at the deeds and whatnot, this all used to be defense property, and the Defense Department turned it over to the county for public use. Not private use, public use. Now, if I remember, on those deeds, there's some words about max high tide water level and the public access like 3 or 4 foot from the max tide. And that's not average tide, a foot or two, max tide. I'll send you that information.
Okay, thanks, George. And I do read what you send me, and you send me a lot, George. Thank you. Andrew?
Well, here's a question I've got. We use LOST money to re-nourish the beach on Perdido Key. So shouldn't that sand belong to us if
No.
we use LOST money to restore?
We don't. Not on Perdido Key, we don't. Is Tim still here?
You check the history, y'all,
we don't.
the county commissioners voted to re-nourish Perdido Key.
No, we don't. We do Pensacola Beach, but not Perdido Key. We don't even pick up the trash where the condos are. The condo owners do that. So if we were to come up with a compromise, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, I think the compromise on in Walton Beach after the millions of dollars spent on lawsuits was still 20 feet, right? It was 20 feet. So I don't know why we can't learn those lessons and come to that compromise now. Let's do 20 feet or 25 feet, whatever it's going to take to keep them from spending their money and us spending their money too, because the money that we're spending on the lawsuit, is the same money is the condo owners' money too. And so they don't want to get into a lawsuit, but they are willing to fight. They're willing to fight for their property rights. And you may have heard somebody say this about me, that I'm doing it because my donors are on Perdido Key. I have 2 donors that live on Perdido Key. And one of them is a friend of mine. The other one is a really good friend of mine. She was my campaign manager. Between the two of them, they gave me $750. So it's going to take a lot more money to buy me off than $750. So, yeah, a whole lot more money. And so that can't sway me whatsoever. I have talked to a lot of the condo owners, and I think they know how I feel about this. So maybe that's why they wouldn't make a donation to my campaign. I think they know how I feel about it now. It wasn't something we were talking about during the campaign because Governor DeSantis came up with this in January of 2025. So I don't have any high donor. My donor is my wife, Gina. She's my big donor, and she's the only one who's got me, I'm in her pocket, and that's it. She's the only one. Do you want to talk about sunshine? So sunshine, I want to tell you my feelings on that. I went to the legislature, I guess it was last week, was it, Hassan? It was last week. We were there, and I'm trying to find someone to champion this for me, because that if you get online, you could probably find out how I feel about something. There were other commissioners that have done this in the past. They might have had a blog or, and they let you know exactly how they felt about something. And so if you're another commissioner, you can find out. Otherwise, we go to the county commissioner meetings thinking out loud. We don't know what the other commissioners are thinking or what they know. We don't. There are 377 commissioners in Florida, and I can't believe that there are no commissioners talking about their votes. I can't believe that. And they don't have to. They can just blog about it or something, and then you'll know exactly how they feel about something. So I think that the Sunshine Law needs to be modernized. The problem is, I've talked to some legislators and a state senator, and they think it's a losing thing. They said it's a political loser is what they've told me. One guy said, "Steve, I'd like to see you ascend to higher office." I said, I'm 63. If I do another term, I'll be 70. I don't know if I can do this again. It's too late for me to ascend anymore. I'm flat now. So I'm not looking to ascend, I'm looking to improve government. So this is not to rewind reform that we already have with the Sunshine Law. There's lots of good aspects of the Sunshine Law. Some of those things are we have to publicly advertise the meetings. We have to have a public forum for folks to speak. And there's the public records request. We have to do those. There's a lot of good things about that. But what's not good is I can't talk to another commissioner. And I can't reason with him the way you normally would. It's just unnatural to make decisions this way. That I can't talk to you and say, hey, why do you feel this way about customary use or whatever the subject might be for the day? Why do you feel this way? I want to know. Convince me otherwise. Convince me, and I'll try to convince you. Why can't we have regular discussions like that? That's what we do all the time around the kitchen table. Now, I don't want to have breakfast with any of the commissioners and talk about these at the kitchen table, but I do want to talk to them, in my office, in their office, outside the office. I want to have a discussion. Now, we're the only ones locally that are tied like this. I feel it hampers, the business of government. And slows us down, and I don't want to be slowed down by anybody. So that's why I want to reform this law so that I'm able to speak openly without prosecution. Now, they're not even prosecuting a lot of Sunshine. They're not even doing that. I mean, I think over in Milton, there was a city council member whose phone was requested, and she destroyed it instead, and she still wasn't prosecuted. What the heck is that? So I don't want to get to the point where I'm destroying phones or acid bleaching computers and stuff like that. I just want to have a discussion about subjects in the open, and maybe a compromise is if I was to meet with Commissioner May or Commissioner Kohler or any of the other commissioners, is maybe disclose what we talked about, almost like a trip report. Say, well, here's what we talked about. Now, I don't know if you can believe what we talked about when I tell you, in a paper like that, but at least that would be some disclosure. I just think that we need to do more to kind of accelerate the process instead of all the stuff that we do right now. Go ahead, Teresa.
I think that's what the committee of the whole meetings are for. You call a subject, and then you come to this meeting, and you all can talk freely there without maybe as many people watching you.
But we only have one of those a month, and that's 12 subjects that we can talk about. Now, the one thing that we probably shouldn't talk about maybe is rezoning. One of the commissioners talked to me about that when I was in Tallahassee. He said, maybe rezoning is one that we should probably not be talking about. But I did find one legislator, he's a sophomore, who also believes that Sunshine needs to be reformed. So everybody else won't touch it. They all got elections. They want to win their elections. So none of them will touch it. But there's one guy that will. So I'm hoping that he'll champion this with me, and together we can reform this law. Go ahead, Teresa.
Okay, I don't have, I'll just say, as a constituent, as a resident, I want to know how decisions are made. I don't want alliances or deals between people where I don't know what the thought was that went into that decision, where you just get on we suspect this was done before, but that you all kind of just go, okay, you wink at each other and you've already made your mind up on that one. So it's just, there's a reason we have this in the Sunshine. The people should see where you're
But we don't do this
persuaded.
federally. The federal government's not restricted this way, and neither is the state. The state isn't, just locally. just locally. It's the boards, it's the commission, we can't talk with each other.
Government in the Sunshine is a state law,
Well,
right?
everybody's got a sunshine law, though we're not the only state, but we have probably the most strict sunshine law of the 50 states.
It's a printed up thing, Government in the Sunshine. It's a big, it's not just us.
75% of the agenda.
Yeah, look, when I was in the Navy, I had top secret clearance, and nobody asked me if I was telling secrets to the Egyptians when I lived in Egypt, you know? I could teach them everything about small deck operations and about over-the-horizon targeting and anti-submarine warfare, but I couldn't tell them everything. I couldn't tell them about tactics. I had to stop at tactics. But no one ever asked me if you've been sneaking tactics over to the Egyptian Navy? No, or the Air Force, I mean. No, I've been trusted with secrets my whole life, you know, and I'm open. I will tell you, man, I'm way too open. You should hear the stuff I'm telling the county attorney and the administrator when we have our weeklies. I'm very open about what I say. My wife is watching right now, and she's wondering, oh, please don't be too damn open tonight. But I am. I will tell you exactly what I'm thinking about stuff. That's why I think the Sunshine Law is it's unnatural. We make decisions that I don't think are thought thoroughly. And just because we have a committee of the whole meeting, and our last committee of the whole meeting, I don't even know what it was. What was it? Was it the Base Center? No. Maybe it was. Those are decisions, I don't even know why we're not even having those in the open, you know, to talk about them, because I can talk to, say, the mayor about it, but I can't talk to Ashley Hoffberger about it. So I would like her and me to be on the same page along with the other commissioners before we make a good decision. Go ahead, sir.
What if we could get back to Beulah?
Sure.
And focus on Beulah, since that's what we're here for.
All right, well, I was all done with Beulah.
But I would like to know what the county's thoughts are and what your plans are to improve traffic flow on your county roads and all of the development that you're allowing to go on in Beulah.
Yeah.
If you're ever on Beulah Road, for instance, which is not your road, it's a state road, that traffic in the morning is backed up over a half a mile just waiting to get on to 9 Mile. I live at the corner of Beulah and Frank Reeder Road. You let a school bus try to turn left onto Frank Reeder Road, and you're backing the traffic up all the way around to Isaac Road before it's leaving again. What is your plan to do what is the county's plan to do something to improve the traffic flow on the existing roads in Beulah that you've allowed to be overpopulated?
Well, I didn't allow it, but I will tell you this, at that intersection, Frank Reeder and Beulah Road, there's going to be a signal there. There'll be a light there. I know. It's going to happen at the same time. It's going to happen with that. We are going to 4-lane that, but that light's going to happen too.
All right, I've got a letter at home sent to me from the FDOT on my inquiring on when the project for Beulah Road was going to be started.
I got an email at home.
I just got mine like yesterday, okay?
Okay.
Their projected goal for starting anything to do with Beulah Road on widening is to start with the intersection of the Interstate 10 and Isaac Lane, which will become Beulah Road.
Yep.
That's the first phase. They do not even have the money appropriated for it, and according to this letter, it's on an indefinite hold and been suspended right now until they get the money released and appropriated.
Everything that we have on our...
Please let me finish.
All right, finish.
They also say, too, that the continued property that needs to be purchased to do the widening of the road, which I'm directly affected, there's been no money appropriated for them to be able to buy the road right-of-way that's needed for 4-laning. So again, what are you going to do with the county roads, not necessarily the state roads?
So for the state roads, first, on the CIST and the non-CIST list of TPO priorities, nothing is funded. Nothing is funded. But if it's at the top of the list, it's going to start getting funded. So the top 3 things on the non-CIST list are all District 1 priorities. All of them are. There's a 9 Mile road priority. What else? I'm sorry. Sorrento Road. Yeah. No. Well, I know you're talking about county roads, but even the county roads. So, look, I can't. don't want to apologize for where we are right now with the county roads. I know that everybody wants no development. Maybe you're the one who sent me the email about why don't we hold all development down? But we can't do that because that's where the funding comes to do the improvements. It's a chicken and the egg thing. We got to have the development.
Improvements on the existing roads.
Yes, yeah.
That's the question. You're not answering that.
When are they gonna resurface the other side of the one they've already resurfaced?
So for the county roads, we do have a resurfacing list, and we have a heat map of where all those roads need to be resurfaced, and we already know where we're going to be doing them in 26 now. In fact, Hassan's got it in his hand right now. We know where we're going to be doing it. And some of those roads, the whole road doesn't have to be done, but some of it might be red, some might be yellow, and there might be a small portion that's green, but we might do the whole thing. So what we are is we're way behind in resurfacing our roads and improving the traffic. And I'll apologize for that, but we are going to get to it. We're also sorely funded to do it. So people don't want to pay more taxes, but that also means that we can't necessarily get everything paved or improved in a timely manner too.
A couple of things. I agree with the gentleman over there where just building and more building and more building has been allowed. So if you have this vision or plan for Beulah and you want it to be a beautiful little place that's not hectic, you're way far behind because they're overbuilding. Do you remember the BCC meeting where Mike Kohler said he'd like to look into planning and zoning? All of y'all need to look into that. And as far as the roads, yes, they're state roads and there's nothing you can do, but they're terrible. And where Mobile Highway connects to Pine Forest, I mean, all of that coming down from I-10 going to Beulah. Do you know how many cars traversed Pine Forest Road last year daily? This is off the Escambia County road guy. Showed me how to use the map. 38,000 cars a day. And Pine Forest Road still hasn't been built up and developed.
That's one of the top 3 priorities too. That is one of them.
And it's like he didn't care. Oh, it's a state road. I don't care.
No, I care about it. I go that way all the time.
Oh, I'm not saying you didn't.
Yeah.
It was like the road guy said, "Oh, that's not ours. Well, I don't care." But if you keep zoning there and letting building happen, it's going to be worse and worse. Pine Forest and Beulah Road. And quick question, do each of the commissioners get their own little bucket of discretionary funding?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. And so they put on the agenda that they want to use some of the discretionary funding for really boondoggles. I mean, really.
Well, for charities, they're not taking trips with
Well,
yeah,
for
not
charities.
boondoggles the way you and me know boondoggles.
Well, yeah, I was just whatever. Charity, it's really questionable in some cases. Like, for Thanksgiving, a bunch of tables were bought to serve dinner on, even though the people did it annually. Where are their tables from last Thanksgiving? I mean, really. But you say, and I don't want to put you on the spot, you say that you don't like that. You've said in board meeting, I don't like this discretionary stuff. And
It's going to come to a vote.
and I just heard from you that a couple other
Yeah.
commissioners don't. So why, when you vote on it, it's up for vote. Everybody's 5 hands raised, 5 approved.
Yeah.
If you're going to take a stance against it, and I know it's not your discretionary money. That's because at the bottom of the article in the agenda is the commissioner's name,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So I know it's not yours, but take a stand. Don't vote for it. You guys
Okay.
don't vote for it. Because that's our money.
I know. John?
Commissioner, I know we're running late and you got to go. You inherited a lot of ugly babies. I appreciate you standing up there and taking the barbs. I wanted to ask, so bringing this back to Beulah again and the master vision, and you're going to DC and you're going to talk to Marina about that. Do you have just a rough guess time frame in the minimum 3 years you have left, when you might
I only got
have-
3 left?
Well, I said minimum, but just a rough guess or a target date, general timeframe when you might actually have something like that codified.
Well, there are 6 steps, and I can go over them with you.
No, don't.
But yeah, there are 6 steps to doing this, and I think we can do it probably by the end of this year. I don't see why we can't. The commissioners tend to punt to the other commissioners when it's in their district. If they know that this is what I want to do and it's how we want to do it, it's something we got to do. We can't live this way with a vision plan. You can't do anything with a vision plan. So I think we can do it by the end of the year. I'm gonna push for that. I mean, I've even got my requests written out and stuff. We got a question in the back. Yep. Yeah, I believe it is, yes. Oh.
I'm curious, I understand that it's for dog shows, but is there some kind of maybe, like, okay, they have a dog show and then they go back to the regular dirt?
Yeah.
Offers one works with it.
Yeah.
A producer, the last time I went there, he spent probably, I don't know, 2 to 3 days getting the dirt prepared for the show.
Okay, is Pam still here? Oh, you want to answer that? Okay. Yeah, we can definitely do that. I don't see why we can't make it. I mean, we can make that transition. We do it at the Base Center for rice and, events and stuff like that.
Will we be notified when you answer our card questions?
You will, yeah, we will email you, actually. What do you mean? We'll email you directly, yes. What was your question?
It was my question.
What was your question? Hi, how you doing? Is it about 9 Mile Road and cleaning it up? Because I know you're busy with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we already have a request into the state to do that. They only come out once, I think, right now.
Oh, barely.
Yeah. Yeah, the illegal dumping and the other stuff that happens, whether it's an open truck or something, it bothers me too. And it's not just there, it's everywhere in this county, and it bothers me.
I don't mind picking up if somebody has a accidental dump and they don't come back for their stuff. I wish they would. But we really need to have the state more consistent about coming out on 9 miles. Sometimes it's, I think, every 7 weeks, if that. Mobile Highway, it's once a month, but they're not really exact on the days. We really need twice a month. This is just getting, with the growth that we have here, it's just getting to be too much.
Yeah,
Myrna
you're probably
and I
right
and
because of the growth,
Other volunteers are out there doing our best. She's 67, I'm 63, I got a bad hip, we can't keep doing it.
Well, you keep doing it, though.
Well, because nobody else.
I know, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I don't like those.
I know, I don't either.
Okay, well, Steve, I do about,
It kind of defeats our purpose of unifying Beulah, where we've got a right over track.
I'd like a day where you didn't have to do that. I'd like a day when
Me
you wouldn't
too.
have to do that.
Well, Steve, I do about 5,000 pounds a year, and it's all around the county. And I'd like to, this is my comrade in arms, Sabine, and,
I know Sabine.
yeah. And I do Beulah, but I also do other parts of the county. And whenever I notify your office, they come out and do it, and they do a good job.
Mhm.
And I think you need to know that. But
I do know that, and I thank you for saying that out loud, too. Thank you.
because I just, sometimes I don't know where to send stuff, and I don't always pick in Beulah, I pick in other areas.
We answer calls, whether they're for FPL or ECUA, we get those calls. And so I've heard people say that they can't get a hold of our office. Hassan takes that as a personal insult. If you think that you haven't,
Well,
he
you
answers
know.
the calls, I answer the calls, we also got Connor answering emails and calls too. We get them all. And now if we miss one, we do miss one. In fact, Philip, are you still here? Philip. So I didn't miss it, but I didn't follow up on an email from him, and I will. We
Well,
will.
I'm 68, and I did it through
You
my
look
left hand.
wonderful. You
Thank
don't
you.
look like you're a day over 48.
Oh, come on. And I did it through left-hand surgery, and I did it after and during my pacemaker, so
Well,
I know.
I
So-
can't thank you enough for what you and Sabina do. I do appreciate it, and I see your emails too. And Hassan's the one making the phone call saying, "Hey, let's get it cleaned up," and we'll continue to do that. But if we have to if we have to change that and say, "I don't want to have to call you," let's just do it twice a month. Let's do it. And then there still might be phone calls still, right? There might be a phone call here and there too.
All right, we got one more.
Hi.
Hi, Cece.
Hi. I wanted to speak about the arena. People who have rodeo horses, I mean, my daughter has had to run in mud before, really serious mud. But if it's packed and it's not sifted perfectly, there's a lot of expense in bringing a horse to a rodeo. And it's serious, they can seriously injure themselves if the sand is not perfect.
Okay.
And so it takes a knowledgeable person to make that right, and it's important, because that horse shows are not as often as they used to be, but they bring in a great deal of money for the county.
I know. Thank you. We know it's a big asset, and we got wonderful amenities up here. Let's get one more question up front. I want to let everybody know that I have my business card out here, and I want to give it to everybody if you guys want to get a hold of me. It's got my personal email address for the county. You can email me. Go ahead.
Hi,
call
I
me.
live on Beulah Road, and this is actually my first town hall meeting. I bought the house there on Beulah Road about 2.5 years ago, and I know it's been discussed a little bit, but could you just clarify with the road expansion, which, shall we say, department covers the eminent domain, because my house will be directly affected by that road expansion project, and is there a point of contact that I can talk to about
Yeah,
that?
why don't I get your phone number instead? And I'll give you my card too, so you can hold me to make sure I follow up with you.
Right.
And I'll get you an answer for that, find out. All right? All right, I think everyone's tired of listening to me. And I want to thank the staff for coming out here. Are you waving and saying hi or bye? But I just want to say staff is here, folks I didn't even see, safety's here, development services, CMR, they're always out here and they do a great job for me. I didn't actually want anyone to come out here, but I think they want to make sure I can get out of here safely. So they all came. They came. Thank you very much. Thank you, staff.
Maybe we get an agenda item added, like,
What's that?